Hello, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing another Boson NetSim lab. Today we're going to be doing the infrastructure section within Boson, and we're going to be troubleshooting EtherChannel. So our objective for this lab, it says in this lab you will learn to use what you know about layer 2 EtherChannel and spanning tree protocol (STP) to configure and troubleshoot EtherChannel configuration. So this is our lab topology right here. It looks pretty simple. We have a PC connected to our access layer switch, and then we have our access layer switch connected to our distribution, and then our distribution connected out to our core. So between the access and distribution layer, we can see that we're going to have our ether channel right here. It looks like it has 8 links for this ether channel. We can tell it's the ether channel because of this circle right here. So usually if you had this many redundant links between the access and distribution layer, only one of them will be active and the rest will be blocking because of spanning tree. But with ether channel, we can logically group all of these links into one link. So through spanning tree, it'll only see it as one logical link. And then also we're able to use all of the throughput with all of these links because we bundled them into one logical link. So all links will be used. So that is definitely a benefit that you want to take advantage of with ether channel. So we could also do it from the distribution to the core, but that's not what this lab entails because it has a redundant connection. But we're just going to do as the lab says and just configure the ether channel between the access and distribution layer switches. I've already read through all of the commands and the descriptions for this lab. And we're going to do the normal. We're going to keep our topology up here in the top left. Let me go ahead and scroll down to the instructions on the top right. And we're going to be doing all of our configurations down here at the bottom. So let's go ahead and pull up our access layer switch and our distribution layer switch because those are going to be the ones that we're going to be probably configuring in this lab. So A switch 1 right there and D switch 1 right there. Perfect. All right, so it says task 1, examine the existing ether channel configuration. In this task, you will examine the existing ether channel configuration and locate potential problems. On D switch 1, display a summary of the ether channel configuration. Which ports on D switch 1 are configured as part of the ether channel? So let's go on D switch 1, enable for privilege exec, configure terminal, global config, and let's do let me go to end to go back to privilege exec, and let's do a show ether channel summary. So we can see right here that we have fast Ethernet 02 through 08 configured for this ether channel. So we can see that those are the configured ports. It says on D switch 1, display information specific to the ether channel configuration of port channel number 1. Which ether channel links aggregation protocol is in use on D switch 1? How many ports are bundled in port channel 1? There's a few questions to this one. Let's do a show ether channel, and we want to show port channel 1. Okay, can we do port channel? Okay, yeah, port channel. And it'll show us all of the port channels, and we only have group number 1 or port channel number 1, so that's the only one that's showing up. So perfect. It says which ether channel link aggregation protocol is in use on D switch 1. So it looks like the protocol, we're not using a specific protocol. It looks like we configured it as on instead of using either LACP or using PAGP. We're just using the on ether channel. So we know that that's the mode that it's in. And it says how many ports are bundled in port channel number 1. It should say, okay, so we have 7 ports located in this port channel right here. It says on D switch 1, display a list of switch interfaces and their states. What is the state of port channel number 1 interface? So let's do a show IP interface brief. And we can see that our port channel interface is in the up state in both the status and the protocol. So that's layer 1 and layer 2. So we're good there. Okay, so this is the next one. It says on A switch 1, display information specific to the ether channel configuration of port channel number 1. How does A switch 1 configuration differ from D switch 1 configuration? So let's go back up to right here, because this is what we're going to enter. So let's do enable on a switch 1. Let's do a show EtherChannel port channel. Okay, and we can see right here that we are enabled for our protocol as on, but I just noticed the number of ports over here is configured to be 8, but over here on D switch 1, the number of ports is configured to be 7. So that may be our problem right there. And let's see which interface is not bundled. So it has to, yes, the fast Ethernet 01 interface on D switch 1 is not configured to be in the Ether channel. So you see it right here on A switch 1, but if we go back over to D switch 1, we don't see fast Ethernet 01. It starts at 02. So that's not correct. So it says that's how they differ. I would say that's how they differ. On A switch 1, display a list of ports that are bundled in port channel number 1. Which port is bundled on A switch 1 that is not bundled in D switch 1? So we just figured that out. We know that D switch 1 did not bundle the fast Ethernet 01 interface. So we're going to have to do that. So on A switch 1, display spanning tree state information. What is the status of port channel number 1? So let's go over to A switch 1 and let's do a show spanning tree. And we only have VLAN 1 configured for spanning tree, so that's perfect. We didn't get a lot of output there. So it says, what do you notice about the port channel number 1? What do you notice about? Okay, I noticed that it is the root port, so that's good. Okay, and it says what possible problems okay, so I was right here. It says on A switch 1, display spanning tree information. What is the status of port channel number 1? So it's the root port. So let's go to number 7. On D switch 1, display STP information. What do you notice about port channel 1? What do you notice about the fast Ethernet 01 interface? So let's go over to D switch 1. Let's do a show spanning tree. And we can see that our port channel interface or status is a designated port, but we can also see it's asking about the fast Ethernet 01, and this should really be bundled into this Ether channel. So this could form a potential loop, and you do not want any STP loops in your network. So this would definitely or it could produce a loop within this network, and that's something you don't want. So it says right here, what possible problems could arise with this topology as a result of the differences in Ether channel configuration between D switch 1 and A switch 1? So it's definitely this fast Ethernet 01 connection should be bundled into this Ether channel, and since it's not, it could produce a loop, and you do not want that, like I said. So it says task 2, fix and verify the Ether channel configuration. So after we do put this interface, this fast Ethernet 01 interface into our port channel, we should not see it within our STP output. So let's do that. It says in this task, you will fix Ether channel configuration between A switch 1 and D switch 1. When you have completed the task, every interface that connects D switch 1 to A switch 1 should be bundled in port channel number 1. All commands in this task should be issued on D switch 1, of course. Okay. So it says shut down every physical interface that should be bundled in port channel number 1. What do you notice about port channel 1 interface? So let's go over to D switch 1 now. We're already here. Let's do a conf T. Let's do an interface range fast Ethernet 01, because we want that one, through 8. Okay. And let's do a shut. Okay, so we shut down all of those interfaces. And it says, what do you notice about the port channel number 1 interface? Okay, so as we were reading that, we can see that right here, our port channel number 1 interface has now changed to the down state. And that's because all of the interfaces that are bundled within that port channel are administratively shut down because we shut them down. So let's do, it says configure the interface range. Okay, right here. Configure the interface range to form an Ether channel port group in on mode with an identifier of 1. Okay, so let's do a channel group 1, and we should give a mode of on. Perfect. All right. Now re-enable the interface range. What do you notice about the port channel number 1 interface? Let's give a no shut now. Okay, all of our interfaces are now administratively up, and we can see that our port channel number 1 interface has now changed to the up state. Okay, so what do you notice about the EtherChannel configuration now? So let's do a do show EtherChannel summary, and we can see now that Fast Ethernet 01 is bundled within our Ether channel, which is what we want. And we can see, you know, with the P right here, that's what these mean. These P's mean that they're bundled in the port channel. So that's perfect. We have SU, which means that it's layer 2 with the capital S. And the U means that it's in use. So this Ether channel is in use. Perfect. So let's do a do show spanning tree one more time. And we can see now that that Fast Ethernet 01 interface that we were having is now gone because it's bundled within our Ether channel. If we go back up in our output, we can see that that was included before we added the Fast Ethernet 01 interface into our port channel. So everything looks right now. So that was the last step. It says, what do you notice about the Fast Ethernet 01 interface? I noticed that it is now bundled within our Ether channel, and that is not showing up within our spanning tree output. So it can't cause a loop. So that's what we want. So let's go ahead and hit grade now. Hopefully we did everything correctly. And we did. So thank you guys for watching this one. I'll see you in the next one.